Okay, testing, testing. All right, I think we should be live. Before I go over the crypto and the charts, I do want to say I am somewhere else right now. Um, I'm 3 weeks in another city, and we'll be charting from there. So, brought my laptop, brought my setup, and we'll see how it goes. I hope the internet connection is all right, so we can actually stream well. But if the internet net connection is not alright, then you can tell me. First, let me start by sharing the stream into the Discord. And after we've shared the stream, we're gonna go into some analysis. My plan of today and after is to just go over some high time frame charts, some link, some Bitcoin. And while I do so, I want to make the videos while I live stream here. So I'm also gonna press the record button when I do go over a chart. So if you're in this live stream, you're gonna go over it live, but if you're not, then don't worry. A lot of these charts that I am gonna be analyzing are going to be a video. Let me just test one thing real quick if the mic quality is okay. It's last time it wasn't. If the mic quality is okay. It's last time it wasn't. Okay, it's not the best, but it will do. Just gonna quickly share the stream into the Discord and then let's freaking go. So in the title, I also have NASDAQ and stocks put in there. That's because I do want to go over a few high time frame scenarios. Maybe grab like a stock as Tesla, go over the daily and the maximum time frame 4 hour, just to go over the high time frame part. And yeah, we'll see about that. But I'm gonna go start on link in a little bit. Let me, if I'm logged in X, then I'm gonna share it there, and if I'm not, then I'm just going to start. Hope everyone is having a great Sunday. It's time to prepare our trading week again. And man, I do love Sundays. Sundays are great trading days. Last week on the Sunday, I've taken two trades, two W's. One was actually crazy. I've also made a video about that trade. One of the trades was taken live in the live stream, and the other one was taken pretty much an hour or one or two after the live stream. It was on the same coin with the same bias, but we actually managed to get a better position than last time. Okay, X is working. Sharing the stream here, then starting the fire. There we go. If anyone's in the chat, let me know. We'd love to have some interaction, arguments about certain things, about certain coins. Always curious about someone else's view about a currency or pair or other financial instrument. All right, give me 20 more seconds and we'll start by analyzing Link on the higher time frame. Remove this. There we go. We're ready. So when I'm gonna do this link, I am gonna put my recording on. So if I am lagging, then please let me know, because then I'll just stop the recording during the live stream and I'll just live stream like I always do. Aminu, hello, how are you? Great, man. Thank you for being here once again. You're amazing. You're ready to learn, take things into your own hands, and level up your trading game. And I'm glad I can be a part of that and help you on the way towards it. All right, so for any questions, Aminu, any chart requests, you can drop them and I will do them after link. But first, yeah, let's start going over the high time frame of link. Let me know if I'm lagging when I start my recording. Okay, so today we are going to go over Link, a project that has not really been performing that well this cycle. And you would say because it's linked to Ethereum, and when Ethereum hit its new all-time highs, that Link could have had some more expansion as well, but it did not do. So today I'm gonna analyze Link. I'm gonna go over the higher time frame scenarios on Link to see if we can actually see some more price action towards the upside in the future, or of course bearish price action, because that could also be the case. So we want to start by drawing in our market structure on the weekly. And when we take a look at this price action all the way over the left, it's actually pretty pretty scary, because what we have done here is we kept on trading down, and this is the weekly time frame, so it's a strong time frame, right? And you even managed to SFP the pullback that brought you all the way up to new highs. But what's so interesting about Link is we didn't just hunt it and got a reaction. No, we actually spent almost 2 years accumulating here at the bottom. You know, when we have a range, we are building liquidity on both sides of the market. And what did we do in June 2023? We took out the range low and we started trading up from there, which is a really strong signal, because if you're accumulating for almost 2 years, you're going to expect some follow through, especially accumulating below a lot of structure here. So people got really bearish, selling all of their Link positions. Link was almost at their beginning price again. Oh man, this is actually crazy that we've tested this. With the deviation as well, we had, did we? Yeah, we did. Absolutely amazing. With that deviation, we actually tested our first pullback when Link was listed. Excuse me, my cat, or not my cat, but there's a cat making noise. Just give me a second. Okay, close my door here. He's an attention seeker. Like it's actually really amazing to see we've tested this pullback. And I mean, I had already pointed this out in the chart. I've put some text onto these lows we've created, and that is because I think we do not have to return towards all of these lows once again. Market maker involvement to push price towards new highs. This was your last pullback before actually breaking out of this range. So relevant to test back, and I do not think we need to come back here because look at the reaction it gave us. Soon as we tested it, we started blasting towards new highs again. This is what brought you all the way towards new lows. Then we gained it, so our order flow is now, after a higher high, is a higher low for another higher high, which we have done so. And while doing so, we have tested this market maker demand absolutely strong, created new highs from there. Your expected order flow is up, so we're expecting this low to be held and this high to be broken. Then the pullback that brought you internally your trend switch as well, is what we've tested back right now. And what we did in the demand is another market maker accumulation. You know that of range trading, you can see those three taps down here. That's market makers filling up orders, and you can clearly see the reaction after it as well. After they've filled up their orders, they're starting to push price into profit. Their positions that they've been scaling in here are now in good profits because don't forget, this is literally 100% gain on the people, the money that they've put in here. So that's absolutely crazy. And can't even imagine, of course, the buys that they've taken from there, almost times three. Those are crazy gains and they don't happen a lot. So how can we start to play on Link? Because it's starting to look like it's actually really bullish. And how can we continue trading this bullish momentum on Link? Because we are just expecting higher. We're just going to start following our order flow, and that is another higher high. Okay, this was our higher low, our higher high. What can we expect? A higher low for new higher highs. It's simple order flow and it's simple market structure. So that's exactly what we are going to be looking at. And when we look more locally, this is a higher low, another higher high, a higher low, and a higher high. As I've also drawn in here, if we manage to hold this $15 right here, then there's nothing else we can expect than upside because it's following our high time frame trend, our high time frame order flow, and it's also following our internal order flow. And of course, at these liquidity points, those are just TP moments. There are places the market is going to correct from it. The goal was to make a new higher high. We've done so, but we have now this whole bit as support. And I have a support and resistance line drawn in here with a line over the $20 mark on Link. And if we zoom a bit out, I think this was really relevant on Link. The $20 level is amazing on Link, and that is because look at all the interaction price has given into it. It hold here, broke below, tested it back, went down again, support, broke it, it got resistance here as well, support here, tried to bring you up, failed doing so. Now it was resistance here, And because we have done enough, in my opinion, on the bottom to keep moving up, I do think we will hold this zone in combination with the $20 mark. So all in all, on the higher time frame, this is such a good point of interest to look for longs on Link. Near that $20, near this support, and what would I be waiting for a play? I always draw in these kind of scenarios in my chart. What I want to be seeing is you trending down into your point of interest. I want to see your order flow switch. How can you know when your order flow is switching? When you make a higher high. That means your trend from bearish is now bullish. We've made a higher high and we can now expect a higher low for another higher high. And that's how you can acknowledge these trend switches, because we've done the same thing here. This was our point of interest that brought you all the way up. This was the last pullback that made you new lows. Then we gained that right there, a change of character, a momentum switch. Now there's nothing else we can expect between these points, and that is another higher low for new highs. And we're just going to continue that until the market fails to do so. So if you keep on trending down, even in your point of interest, you're not never going to get that reversal. But if you are, then you have yourself a trigger to look towards the upside again. So what would your targets be? I would definitely be targeting the $30 mark, but I do think we can break the $30 mark. $30 mark right here was tested, but we haven't actually tested this supply to the left here, which makes it interesting to come back to as well, especially with the swing high being here. I think we're going to go up and then grab some real resistance here or get a short squeeze. So those are pretty much the opportunities. Let me actually put a little bit of background music as well. There we go. I think it should be fine. And in these kind of videos and in these streams, I sometimes do want to give a little clue about a lot of the things I draw in and why I draw them in. And this is going to be one of them. Because music is a little bit too loud for me. Because why is this such a supply zone for me, and why is this not just tested by this, and why do I clam myself in a situation where I need to acknowledge this supply here just right above your high? Well, how do you draw in this supply? When we go on the daily time frame, I think it is, or else it's lower. No, you can see it on the daily time frame. You can clearly see we had this pullback and this move up, right? So if we are really that bullish and we want to continue moving up, then what would have to happen? We would have to hold this low, and from here we need to continue that higher low for the higher high. If we fail to do so, that means sellers have stepped in here to start pushing price down. Also, the part that wanted to bring us higher, we never tested back as well. We actually front ran it and continued down. So that's more reason for the sellers that have stepped in here, because they have also done a liquidity hunt here, right? What I'm basically trying to figure out here is, if you draw in a supply, you think there are going to be sellers at that supply zone. And how can you see if there are sellers at that supply zone? If they have previous skilled in here. And if they have done so previous, then we can acknowledge, okay, if price comes back here, the people that have shorted the market here and actually pushed a really big part of the price down, if price comes back there, are they willing to defend their orders that they have shorted here? And that's why we're going to look locally at this zone. Above this high, we are going to expect some resistance and some trouble. If not, we are going to get that squeeze up and a quick move towards all-time high. This is pretty much your last trouble zone. I'm expecting for the rest link to just continue towards the upside. We're gonna look for trades on the local confirmation though, but that's a little bit of sauce from Cage. Gonna go to the 4 hour, look at this local picture, and then it's good for me. Then link is done. So these are not the easiest thing to draw in. When you just have the basic systems in place, like if you watched the basic market structure, supply and demand, the basic range trading, this is gonna become a little bit more hectic, and that is because of this part right here. Because you can say this is each time a new pullback and a push towards new highs, right? Which it is, but this is a range on itself. So for me, this is my pullback that brought you towards new highs, and this is just a consolidation in of itself. This is not a new pullback that brought you to new highs to respect as market structure, because if you did, you've got the break and you can just keep trending downwards. But I do think looking at this local scenario, we could actually see some little bit of upside. Because what have we done? We've tested our extreme demand. This is the part where we first held our low and pushed up towards that massive new high into that consolidation part. We've also never tested it back. So the people that have bought here, when price comes back in here, are they going to defend their orders? Well, the question is obviously yes, because they have already done so. Then we need to follow market structure. I'm gonna go on a bit higher time frame. Because take a look at all of these wicks. This looks a bit to me like market maker accumulation. Market makers filling up orders each time we go below a low, to then eventually, until they've filled enough, to start pushing the price up into profits once again, which is just expected order flow as well, right? And also on the daily, this is your structural pullback, and we can clearly see this is not. So on the local time frame, even if we hold this, we can move up. We are bullish until proven otherwise. If we fill this level, then we're definitely going to go into this demand, and then this scenario comes into play, which is my favorite one, around that $20 mark. Great place to look for longs. So on the 12 hour, this was our pullback that we have to break. Why? This brought you to new lows. This is not a great break of structure, but this is the place where sellers push price towards a new low. So we can call this a change of character. This brought you to new lows, lower low, higher high. What can we expect? Higher low for another higher high. 4 hour. This is a zone I have actually given into our Discord, and it got tested perfectly with a really good reaction up as well. That's also because we had liquidity laying here, and we never tested our point of interest back, because what you can see is this move price up. This is also the part that caused us to break this. Over here, we never got a local confirmation for longs, but you can clearly see a lot of people had tried to push price up from this level right here. But that actually makes it interesting to come back here, test this untested demand, snoop all of this liquidity below the low, and then get your expected move up. We've also broken structure while doing so. So we've made a lower low, now a higher high. And we can expect a higher low for another higher high. But we'll have to see if price holds here locally. So I was actually going to do only the higher time frame, but I'm gonna do the lower time frame for this one as well. The 1 hour, the 30 minutes. See this local part. We actually have a nice 30-minute bearish candle, and we have never tested that back as well. And what can we already see happening in this form of demand? That is that you're building liquidity on the highs. You are going to build liquidity on the highs until you've taken enough from the lows, and then we can rotate towards all of the liquidity that we have just built. So we either build that liquidity ourselves, which we are kind of doing right now. If we take this low out one more time, we could have some opportunities to trade towards the high, or it's actually all the way over here. But I kind of do not want to see price there, because this is the place that hunted all of this, got the massive reaction from. This is your swing move towards the highs, and then the uptrend you want to hold lows and you want to break highs. So I do not prefer that level. Manipulation here as well, liquidity hunt. Definitely do not want to go below there, and if we are, then price action is going to just form lower. Maybe even going to go towards this part and then try again completely. So locally this still looks up, and I am expecting upside until it's proven otherwise. When we close below here, it's proven otherwise. And then we could test it back and maybe start to sweep this low, or on the higher time frame go towards this part. But link is still definitely up until proven otherwise. And because we didn't continue our strength from over here, this could actually still be an interesting supply for the market to test back and reject from. So 2 local scenarios, and high time frame I would not be looking for shorts. And why was that again? Because we're in a massive uptrend and we're expecting higher time frame continuation towards the upside as well. So this was Link. Was actually a pretty long analysis on Link, pretty outstanding once again. But well, that's what we do here. We crawl on the minds of as well as the big players, as well as the retail players, to come to multiple scenarios, multiple conclusions, so we don't get surprised by the market. Everything that the market is going to do, we are going to be prepared for, so it doesn't scare us and we can take the trades at the right time with the right triggers. So if there's anyone with a chart request, let me know. I was actually gonna do some stocks as well, so if you guys don't have specific requests for me, then I'm just gonna scoop quickly over a few charts, and if it does look really clean or nice, then I'm just gonna analyze it separately and make a more deep, insightful video about it. Like Bitcoin, I have my trade scenarios drawn in when price was right here. We had this POI. This POI actually brought us all the way up towards new highs. Great one. And we have my most favorable, which is I tried to make my lines more thicker with the scenario I like the most. That's a kind of a habit I want to keep doing. So above this line was a really good moment to short because we're just SFPing these highs over and over again and we're not getting strong breaks. So it's expected to get a correction towards liquidity on the downside. That's why I was interested in this scenario. It did give us the move, but for me it did not give us the entry because at the time it was pretty late. I was doing different things, and when you're doing different things and you are a day trader, you're gonna miss the trade. So those things just happen. Okay. Doge was actually really good as well. We shared this one into the Discord. Yeah, please an update on Doge. I'm just moving towards Doge, so that's absolutely great. The last time I've charted Doge with a high time frame confluences, we did actually draw in this higher time frame range. And as we can see, the 3 taps I'm always talking about, we actually had it high time frame forming here as well. And that basically signals to me that we need a correction. Aminu, how do you draw on this range? We are trending up, so we want to draw our range from high to low. And this tool is an indication of is it a deviation or is it not? That is what this red line is for. And I cannot go into it too much, but you can already see the level, so you can use it as well, right? So we have those 3 tabs at this part here. I cannot change my charts around. That's pretty annoying on this computer. Okay. Because sometimes it makes it easier to look from a bullish perspective to trade this way than from a bearish perspective to trade this way, if you understand. Because you can switch that around with Alt E. Well, I do not have access to that. Do I? I have access to that right now. So sometimes looking more bullish at the chart makes it easier because I've always learned trading when I started trading in 2020. You know, with Corona, we had a crazy year with the bull market, right? So I've started trading in that. That's when I started to learn to trade, and I'm used to trading upwards momentum. So sometimes, and I know I'm not the only one, you just have to switch your chart around. Makes it easier to see and makes it easier to trade. So now, because I've already have 4 to 5 years of experience in trading, I do not need to use it that often. But it's a tip for you guys out there. It's definitely worth a shot if you're having trouble reading it. Okay. Um, yeah, let's just start by Doge on this higher time frame. Crazy, right? What it once was and is now. That's what attention can do in this economy in the world. Okay, let's start on the weekly time frame on Doge and let's work our way down. Gonna press the record button again as well, so any questions, let me know. Let's start on Doge. Okay, so now I want to be taking a look at Dogecoin because last week in the crypto group, in the Discord group, we have actually shared a chart about it and it got a big move of 5 to 10% in the direction we wanted to. So what is next for Dogecoin? What can we expect on the higher time frame? What are your possible targets, your possible places to look at entries? We're going to be looking at that right now. When we analyze a crypto pair, we want to start off high time frame. We want to sketch in the bias, we want to sketch in the order flow of the higher time frame, and then we'll start working our way down towards lower time frames. I would suggest everyone analyzing this way as well, so it doesn't get confusing. Okay, we are on the weekly time frame right now. I am gonna skip this part straight away because I don't think it's that relevant. But what I do have to say about it is this pullback brought you all the way up to new highs on the weekly time frame. So no matter what happened in between these 2 points, our expected order flow was still that higher low for a new higher high. So that's interesting to see, right? Even with such a big correction, our order flow was still bullish as long as the people that have stepped in here decided to defend their orders and push price up once again, which we did. So let's draw it in. Then we move sideways for a bit, which is what I call an accumulation. Unfortunately, we did not take out this low, but that just means we do not need this low for an order to move towards the upside. We took extreme liquidity, enough positions filled for the market makers to start pushing price up, all right? So let's just start continuing our market structure. Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. What is your order flow? Your order flow is bullish. You can expect on the higher time frame another higher low for another higher high. This was the part that caused the big pump. I don't think we've actually tested it, did we? Yes, sir, we tested it. And while hopping into this demand, we've also created the well-known 3-tap bottom. Absolutely amazing indications that market makers had been filling up orders down here to then start pushing price up. So our order flow on the weekly time frame is up. While the chart looks as big as this, because we have just acknowledged this part right here, we can leave this all behind. This is analyzed. We do not need to take a look at that anymore. Only thing we need to know is everything that's going on between this low and this high. Our order flow is to protect this low and break this high. That's the information you need at the time. Let's go to our 3-day right now. One more down, daily. This is interesting because this supply here not actually makes it a bit easier to analyze. You know, when I start a analyzing video or a stream, I don't prepare things. I just straight away jump into the charts. I draw in what I see. I come to conclusions at the time, not pre-planned, so it's all out of the box. This is definitely market makers selling their positions, right? Taking extreme liquidity here, moving down. Really strong point. So market makers were still involved right here, excuse me, into pushing price down. This was the last pullback that brought you to completely new lows. So that will be my refined supply. Your big supply is this move, because this whole move you reversed and never tested back. But when you refine it, it's this right here. It's also in the supply and demand free course into our Discord. So this part is relevant to test back because market makers were involved right here into pushing price down. And this is the bit that they have got that expansion and aggression towards the downside too. So let's zoom in even more. That makes this also a really good liquidity point because we've never tested this back. You have to think of it this way. If we're getting reaction, let me make it a box. If we're getting reaction from this supply right here, it's way bigger, but leave it at this for now. And you're testing that supply and people are shorting from it. They are shorting from it. Where is the sea of liquidity? Well, the sea of liquidity, your buy side liquidity, is right here. This is the supply that brought you to new lows all the way. That's where we're rejecting from. That's where price got to push twice towards the downside. So where's that C liquidity is going to be? Right here. What makes it interesting for the market makers to test back? This right here. Sweep all of this liquidity, fill up their own orders, and then push price into the desired direction, which I think the time right now is down. We have grabbed enough liquidity on the highs to at least get a correction towards the downside, either inside demand or grab liquidity up on the lows, either two. So right now, it's also for me, the momentum is down until proven otherwise. I think we have grabbed enough liquidity on the highs so we can start moving towards our lows. So we can start trading this local momentum towards the downside until it's proven otherwise, right? Then we don't anymore. But right now, that's my story, that's my bias. So I would definitely not be looking at longs on Doge right now, because that just looks bearish to me. Even though our higher time frame order flow is upright, this just doesn't look ready to me to explode. Unless I'm wrong, and we're gonna start squeeze up. That is also an option. But right now, price action looks like it needs a correction, so that's what I'm gonna be trading. And maybe after taking out all of this liquidity, our goal is reached. This schematic was just to test this demand here, grabbing all of this liquidity below the lows and then getting your expansion up. Could be the case. We'll have that scenario drawn in, which we have. So only thing we have to do now is take a look at this local picture. Where are the opportunities for our shorts? I'm gonna remove this. And it's also no coincidence that we're testing this all liquidity right here, okay? It's not. So what happens when the market gets such a massive expansion to the upside? It's gonna exhaust, of course. We do not have infinite fuel to keep moving upwards, so we need to start correcting. And as soon as we're gonna see something like this pullback brought you to new highs. We actually tested a supply here as well, so extra confluence to not look for longs, but to look for shorts. But this pullback is what brought you to new highs. That's what you broke with a lot of aggression. So this is also where sellers stepped in and pushed price down. So the question is, when price comes back there, the sellers that stepped in here to provide our order flow to switch from bullish to bearish, are they going to protect their positions and push price down again? That's when we're going to use this riddle here once again. The same thing we did here, we want to see here, and if we do that, continuation towards the downside is confirmed. Well, what we actually did is we created a range. If you know range trading, in this part we are actually trending up. You can also draw the range. I would prefer it actually this way. From low to high, where you touch the midpoint, our range is confirmed. So this would be my range. We have range high, range low, deviation 1, and tap number 3 into our extreme supply, right? Extreme liquidity even. With this big supply, I'm gonna remove it right now because we actually have a refined method. There we go. You can see it works. This is all explained in the free supply and demand video that can be found in the Discord. So I'm gonna shorten this in. That's your bigger supply. But this is really the last pullback that sellers push towards new lows. So when we come back there, let's see if we can continue that move. So we have this range. There we go. This is already the model, right? The model I always talk about, the model I always show. Range low, range high, deviation 1. Either this has to go above the high one more time and reverse, or it has to grab extreme liquidity or touch extreme supply to start rotating down. Well, this is literally this is such a great chart. Actually, there's such a great short. Your trend is up until proven otherwise, but then you start to break it, switching your order flow with this liquidity schematic on the higher time frame, with this order flow in combination as well. It's starting to look really amazing to short, right? We're combining so many confluences here, and so many things are aligning when we're taking that trade. So we really have confidence in this, that we're gonna move down. This is where we broke structure, change of character, our momentum switch. This had to bring us up. We failed doing so. That means sellers stepped in here to push price down. This is your bigger supply, and you have your refined supply. Most of the time it tested refined supply, and this was actually also your play invalidation point, of course above the thing that took out all the liquidity and caused the big move down. Do not want to put the stop loss here because you can easily take it out. And your technical target being the range low, which is already a 3.6 RR. But of course, because of the higher time frame, this is gonna look unrealistic, but these things are realistic and we have hit it before. Your technical target of a range like this is just major liquidity. We've grabbed major liquidity on the highs, tested something major on the highs as well. So I think we can expect that we're going to do the same on the lows here. So I would target this demand, coming up with the 20 to 22 risk to reward here. What's up everyone, welcome to the stream. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and like as well. If you have a chart request, then please ask me in the chat. Or if your views are any different as well, you should tell me. because I love to spar about trading. Okay, that's Doge done. So to get the conclusion on Doge, it's down until proven otherwise, and we just want to continue trading this while it's standing. Even though this trend is up as well, if we never get that internal rotation towards the highs again, we're just gonna keep on moving down to any liquidity we need. So those are my plans on Doge. Okay. We're gonna check all of these pairs. Just gonna quickly go over them if there's anything that interesting. And if there's not, I'm just gonna skip so because I'm looking for trading moments here as well. And I'm not gonna explain everything like I've just explained Link and Doge because that's almost literally like a one-on-one lesson with me right here. Well, all you have to do is watch a live stream, and there are so many live streams uploaded on this channel. It is actually crazy value. Doge here as well, if we can hold this low, create something right here, possibly take this wick out, get a reaction, can move up. AFAX, crazy, we actually called the bottom here. That was right here. A member of the Discord, Amino, had taken position on AFAX there while it ran like crazy. I also said if we manage to flip this $27 level, it's almost a guarantee you're gonna move towards this supply because that's your next resistance point. I have this level drawn in. I'm expecting this pullback brought us up to new highs. I am expecting us to just continue until proven otherwise. Of course, we're gonna trade on local confirmations. That's AVAX. Extra PF still this box drawn in. I think because we tested this, had to bring us towards new highs, failed doing so, making a lower high. I think we can continue with a lower low, grabbing this liquidity. So that's when this scenario comes into play as well. And we could start moving upwards. And if we keep building this liquidity, my confluences for longs over here just gets more confirmed. Also, this supply left, you can see this is pullback for new highs. We failed to do so and we left it open, never tested it back. Just front running this as well. That's actually what you call inducement. So you're gonna draw in those extra shorters to take them out in a bit. If people are shorting into the market here, what comes above these highs as well? Of course, there's one thing. I think everyone's saying that right now. It's liquidity. But what kind of liquidity? When people are shorting here and their stop loss above the high gets hit, a buy order comes into the market. So that makes it a really easy move up. They can fill up orders here and they do not have to spend a lot of money to move price towards over those highs. And that is because the stop losses of the people that have been shorting will do that. So that's how they're actually running their position they fill on the bottom. That's actually how they sell their positions in this liquidity as well. Because if you're buying, you need to sell for an order to take profit. And if a buy order comes above a high, it's a perfect time to press their sell button because the price doesn't move that much because all of those stop losses, right? So that's a little bit of information that is really valuable. Solana in supply. We either create a crazy distribution block here, go all the way towards all of this liquidity, or we're gonna accumulate, get that shoot towards the downside test and continue our trend. Locally, it's still up until proven otherwise. But I want to be careful with all of this liquidity. But then we did get this pattern. Most of the time this breaks down because we're grabbing liquidity from the highs and then we need it from the lows. But we actually squeezed up. The higher we hold here, the stronger I think we do not have to collect this liquidity. So we'll see what happens. Well, Solana is almost at freaking all-time highs again. Crazy, actually. ADA still have those equal highs. This is a scenario I actually pointed out into the group. When we manage to test something back here, we can trade towards new lows. Well, we absolutely got a crazy move towards those lows, but it was because of news, so it was untradable, unfortunately, on ADA. So that is fine. Yeah, I think I'm done with crypto for now. Doesn't look like there's any interesting opportunities in the market right now. It just consolidated to move in the next direction. Like consolidates, it moves. Consolidates, it moves. It consolidates, it moves. So the market moves, right? 3 types of trends: uptrend, downtrend, and consolidation. Consolidation is the phase that happens the most often in the market. So if anyone has a crypto request, crypto chart that I need to analyze, then you can send it. And if not, I'm actually going to go over a few stocks. Stocks are pretty easy for me. It's less complicated than crypto, even though I use the same trading method on stocks. Stocks are, I don't know, feels a little bit more respected, less more manipulative, even though it's more liquid. So at least in my experience. CAS also, if we are going to do it, we have to do it from here. Sure, crypto, done. Let's fire at some stocks. Google. I mean, what is there to say about Google? Crazy, right? I mean, a run like this is expected though, and why? Because this was your uptrend, you created new highs. So it was expected for you to make a higher low for a new higher high, but this also caused a lot of buyers to come into the market by trading above a high. And that made it interesting to take out this low and absolutely get that expansion for the upside. Where could you find rejection levels? Where we are right now, actually. I'm gonna draw in this box. This box is level 250 and 260. Let me draw that in by levels, actually. Do not have the horizontal line here. Do it here. Okay, that's really thick. Let's make it this. And these would automatically also be your price discovery targets. But in the first place, this is my rejection box on Google right now. And Are we gonna see reaction? I have no freaking clue, but um, if we are, then it's gonna come from here, and if it's not, we're gonna seek for higher price levels, right? You're gonna go look at that 270, you're gonna go look at that 280 level, 290, and of course the big gun 300. When you're in price discovery, you have to look at these levels. These levels get respected really well because it's a psychological level. And to the left, there is literally nothing. So this is all we have to use for price discovery. For myself, I don't like trading at all-time highs, but it's doable for sure. I like to be in the trade before we hit all-time highs, you know. I like to be in the trades here and not still long here. Google, I would wait for corrections. Because this run is not going to hit 300, in my opinion. I think that would be crazy. I think we're going to hit somewhere between or here or here. Then we are going to form some sort of consolidation, take out liquidity, and fuel that move towards that 300. That's what I think. Microsoft, I mean, also expected after luring in that many buyers in a consolidation phase, getting the shoot below it, trapping a lot of people, and also taking out a lot of stop losses, becomes obvious that you're going to get a continuation move like that. We are rejecting right now on Microsoft though. Where's that coming from? It's coming from this flipped and walk. Excuse me. They really have a hiccup right now. That's going to be really annoying with the stream. $500 level. I think as long as we can trade above the 500 level, we can see upside on Microsoft. This could be a reaccumulation to start continuing this uptrend right now. But if we do not, we're gonna have to reject from here. We have this crazy big NASDAQ right here, also in combination with our supply that brought us to new lows, because if we were really strong, this is what had to continue towards new highs. It failed doing so, so sellers stepped in here to push price down. And we're not there yet, so I think we can test it. Possibly look for, let's see if we can create a range something like this. See if something like that happens. If not, it's gonna be up until proven otherwise. But if we are in supply and we are gonna get the trend switch, then shorts could be really interesting. Yeah, I do not even want to go over Levi. It's just spending. Gain $24 and we can move towards all-time highs. and even leave highs up until proven otherwise. I do not like the way how we're reacting from here though. Could look like we're gonna create possible distribution, maybe trade towards that low. There's this supply offer or a demand that is untested, and then start to continue our move up again. Last pullback on the higher time frame before new lows. That's where this massive expansion towards the downside came from. This was the part that had to bring you towards new highs. It failed doing so, so sellers stepped in here. And when price comes back there, are they going to defend their orders or at least give us a reaction? Could be. Great scenario this. Ford doing his thing. I'm just expecting upside in Ford. By the way, we created this bottom. I'm expecting us to just trade up. Riot, also pair I'm looking at on the higher time frame. It looks amazing. You have those 3 taps, and with a lot of build-up liquidity, I think we've grabbed enough on the bottom to start moving towards all of this liquidity on the highs, which is also in confluences with your high time frame order flow trend. This was actually the crash of 2008. I'm not even sure what kind of company Rio is. Exploring, mining, processing, mineral resources. They mine iron, gold, all of those things. So basically a mining company. That is interesting. I found that very interesting actually. Well, technical analysis wise, it looks great. I think I'm gonna make a video of it in a second. I'm gonna continue in just a second. I'm gonna go quickly to the toilet. So I'll be right back. Right, I'm back. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, right? Yeah, let me start to analyze the stock here. Sure. Okay. Okay, let's start going over the stock Rio. This is a This is a mining company I've seen, so um, it does look really interesting technical analysis wise. I do think we can see some upside in the upcoming time, and I am gonna explain in this analysis why. Of course, first, when we start our analysis, especially with stocks, I am gonna start at our monthly time frame. You always want to start your analysis on the highest time frame and work your way down. It makes it a lot more structured. You could tell a little bit more easily on what is actually happening in the market than actually going all over the place here. So let's go. Monthly time frame. I do not want to look at everything that has happened previously here, and that is because this was from the crash in 2008. This doesn't give me much price information except a really big expansion and a sweep of liquidity. So price is reset for me for this right now. This will tell me enough about the charts instead of looking about what happened all the way over here with that liquidity and stuff. We have to keep our priorities straight. The funny thing is, it's never a coincidence. This is such a big supply, and why? This is what brought you up to new highs, but failed doing so again. So when you flip it, it becomes resistance. That is your supply zone. This push brought you towards this whole move down. So when you come back in here, you can expect rejection. And that is also what we've tapped here and got that rejection from. But if we can continue to look at the monthly here, let's start by drawing in the structure. In really big lines, it's like this. create a higher high, and we can now expect a higher low for another higher high. Looks bullish, right? Let's continue on the more internal part here. This is what brought you all the way. This pullback here is what brought you all the way towards new lows. That's what we gained. We tested back and we gained from there. So to be really strong here, this is what you would have to hold. And I think we've held it. Even though we have opened and closed a candle above it, or below this low, we never did below this wick right here. This is actually a power of 3 made on the bottom because of this candle construction, as you can see. This song is crazy that I'm listening. It's so bad. Man, oh man. There we go. Something different. Thank you, sir. So keep trading above $55 and I am expecting upside on Rio. And this local part is where it gets really interesting. And also why I am making a video on this right now, because is it really that interesting? For me, it absolutely is. A big move is literally about to happen, and we can tell that on the lower time frame. So let's get into that in a bit. But first, we have identified our structure still pointing up, even though after this part, I still think we've held this low because of what happened here on the local time frame, and that is a power of 3. And also we are in a range. When we're trending up, we want to draw our range from high to low. So this is actually our range, where we have our high, our low, and we have our first deviation at the low, signaling that possible market makers could be filling up orders here. So what we have to do now in this whole range is identify. We either have to go below this low one more time, and we would have a reason to, because there's actually a little market structure pullback that has not been tested back here. So we either create these 3 taps, blow the low once more, take it out, and get a massive and aggressive reaction back inside the range, and we can continue higher. Remember, we're building a lot of trend liquidity in this range, and we're taking liquidity from the lows. We are gonna do so until we have taken enough on the lows, so then we can move towards the highs again. It's the same trick over and over again. So either to tap below it, which would make sense with this point of interest, or touch extreme demand, or take out extreme liquidity. And we actually have taken out extreme liquidity. This was your extreme demand. This brought you all the way up. We never tested it back. We just built liquidity above it. Then we had this trend liquidity, this shoot down, taking bunch of liquidity. And then this aggressive test while continuing moving up. So I'm expecting nothing less right now from Rio. I want to look for upsides. I think there's a lot of potential for upside. I think this is a great bottom to hold, so we do not even have to go here. So locally, I just want to look for upside. So from the weekly, let's go to the 3-day, see if there's anything new going on. What I do not like about this chart is the trend liquidity that we're building up. Okay, even though we have this higher time frame model and we can trade towards all of this liquidity on the highs if the market lets us, we still have a struggle point to gain. This is what brought you to new lows, so you'll never get that rotation towards all of this liquidity if we cannot break this high. Brought you to new lows, so order flow is still bearish until proven otherwise, even though we have such a good model at the bottom here. That's where the local picture comes into part. Making a higher low here is already strong from us. That price is ready to hold and keep moving up is really strong. But I think there will be one more sweep before everything happens. We are trending up, so we want to draw it from high to low. We got the high, broke back inside the range, and we're actually testing extreme supply right now. So bottom we have discussed on the bottom here. We also have that on the lower time frame on the highs. We are taking liquidity on the highs until we have done enough so to trade towards all of this liquidity on the lows. So what I am expecting is actually a correction towards the $55 mark, and from there we can start to accumulate again and continue up. This would be my most favorable trading direction, would be my most favorable trading plan. So that's something I really want to take a look at. Locally, I'm not that interested in longs because the local price action just looks still bearish, right? So we want to wait for something like this to trade towards all of these highs. And when we do so, it's an absolutely amazing bang. It's literally 70%, and that's realistic because we're using technical analysis. We're looking at price actions. We're looking where big players are stepping in and where can they release their orders again. That's what we're looking at. So this was Rio, just expecting higher from here, but we have to do a few things at this local part. If we do not do those few things at the local part, we'll never get that rotation up. Scenario number 1, sketched in. Scenario number 2 right now is to scalp towards this range low here. So get a break of structure internally, test back, and continue towards the liquidity on the lows. That would be a scenario. And even if we fail here, we could also come back below this low and then give us that move. Definitely valid. And for the rest, I time frame like I do not want to look for shorts. I only want to look for shorts above here because it's still pointing up. We want to start trading up, so we have to stay patient for the move up. Okay, this was Rio done. And all of the scenarios have been talked about on Rio. We've already been streaming for literally an hour and a half. That's crazy. 7 likes on the stream, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you all. A lot of people have been tuning in this stream. We have 27 viewers that came and watched us, which is absolutely amazing. So I think that was a really good stream. If there's anyone in the chat that still likes to speak about something, have a chat request, then I would be happy to answer or help you. But if no one has a chart request or any questions, then I am going to end the stream here. We have already given enough value away. This stream was crazy, felt energetic. I also like the way my English is developing while streaming more and more. So that's just beautiful. All right. Thank you all for being here. Make sure to join the Discord that we are building up. It's absolutely a unit of a Discord. The link is in the description. I'm also going to put it in the chat right now. There's free education for beginners, even advanced players. It will help them process their analysis and help them with their analysis. Even the basic videos will help them. So make sure to check it out. Make sure to stay interactive with us. We are trying to build something here. I think this is the new way of looking at markets, to trade the markets. And this is the way that you really understand what is price doing. So people that have a passion for trading, man, it's perfect, this strategy. All right. See you all into the next one. Ciao.